Hi everybody. So my name is Austin. I use the pronouns he, him, his, and himself. And today you're going to be watching my video about books that get me in the holiday and wintry kind of spirit on literary gladiators. Yay! So if you're watching, chances are you probably know what literary gladiators is. But if you don't, basically it's kind of like a web show where a bunch of really cool people come together and talk about books and literature and whatever literature means. It doesn't have to be books, like I said. It could be literature in all of its forms, so it's pretty awesome. Um, so, as I said, December's coming around, so I wanted to talk about some of my favorite books that always get me in the winter or holiday spirit. You might see, because I'm a total cornball, I'm in my dorm at college, and I have my Christmas tree behind me. I'm wearing my Montclair State University holiday sweater, non-denominational. It's very exciting. And yeah, so let's get started. The first book that I always think of when I think about the holidays, it's a book. It's called My True Love Gave to Me. It's 12 stories. They're all holiday related, written by young adult authors, and it's edited by Stephanie Perkins. I really like the book. Obviously, it's all about holiday stories, so it kind of makes sense that I would think of it when I think of like the holidays and winter and stuff like that. But it's a really nice book. It represents a lot of different holidays, so it's not just, Christmas. They also have stories about New Year's, they have stories about winter solstice, they have stories about Hanukkah. I don't believe there's any Kwanzaa stories, but it's a really great book that has a lot of different things. It has like little short romances, short comedies, some dramas, some mysteries, some fantasy in there. It's really cool. So I'm really a big fan of it. I try to read it every year for the past few years now when the holidays come around, just because it always gets me in the spirit, and there's something for everybody. Not just in terms of the fact that there's, all different characters, obviously, and all different sorts of holiday stories represented, things like that. But also there's really like every piece is a totally different genre. So regardless of what you like to read, there's probably one story that you'll find that you really, really like. So I love to read that because it always gets me in the holiday spirit. Some are really moving, some are not moving. They're just kind of stupid, but they're silly. So I'm a really big fan of that book. The next book that always gets me, this isn't really for the holidays, this is more just for winter in general. But I love The Catcher in the Rye, and that's a book that, for whatever reason, always gets me in the winter spirit. Um, I feel like that sounds interesting because the whole book is about like teenage angst and growing up and like hating everything and calling everyone a phony. But it always gets me in the winter spirit because it's a book that I'm just really comfortable reading, on a cold night, curled up in a blanket, drinking some hot chocolate. So for whatever reason, I tend to read it a lot during the winter, and I really like it. I just think it's a good book, to curl up with and read and sometimes laugh at, and be like, wow, this is interesting. Like, how can somebody be full of so much, angst at the world? And then me personally, I look back and I'm like, okay, when I was in high school, I probably was the same. But it's a good book for me to just curl up with and kind of, have a nice night with. So I really like it. The next book that I kind of wanted to talk about, that I suggest all of you read and watch the movie too. It's a children's book. It's called All of the Other Reindeer. It's by Vivian Walsh and Otto Seibold. To be honest, I forget who wrote and who illustrated. I think Otto Seibold illustrated and Vivian Walsh wrote it, but don't quote me. Can't remember off the top of my head. And because I'm at school, I don't have it with me. Otherwise, I would show it to you because I do own it. It's just a really cute book. It's a children's book. You can read it in 20 minutes. It's a big picture book. It's a story of this dog named Olive, who ends up saving Christmas when Blitzen, one of Santa's reindeer, breaks his legs and can't fly anymore. There's a radio message that says, where Santa says, Christmas might have to be canceled, but we'll have to see if we can rely on all of the other reindeer. And Olive hears it as Olive, and then goes to the North Pole and kind of saves Christmas. So it's really cute. There's a movie, it's about an hour long, and Drew Barrymore voices Olive in it. It's super cute. It's one of my favorite holiday Christmas movies. You should definitely check it out. It's really funny. There's some funny characters. There's a snarky penguin in it named Martini. Olive's really funny. Olive's best friend is a flea. Like, it's really cute. And the book is also really, really nice. If you want a nice picture book, if you have kids, kids, you want to give the gift of reading this holiday season, it's definitely a great book to give to kids, or even just to read yourself. It's like super cute, so you should definitely check it out. The book and the movie are pretty different, as is to be expected, I guess. But they're both really good, so check it out. The next book that I'm going to have here is Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist. That's a book that's written by one of my favorite authors, David Levithan, and one of his best friends, Rachel Cohn. It's a really, really great book. I just really love it. Also, there's a movie based off it. I recommend watching the movie. To me, the movie's more of like a New Year's-ish movie than like a holiday kind of movie. I don't know how I differentiate that. But it's really good. So I saw the movie first, and then I read the book, and the book is about 10 times funnier, and the movie's hilarious to begin with. It's just a really great book. It's hilarious. It's really funny. It's a very cute love story. I read it in a day because I could not put it down. It's great. It's not super long. But it always gets me in the holiday spirit because it's so jovial. It's so funny. It takes place in New York City, and I just love thinking about New York City. In the winter time during the holidays, I just think it's there's a certain feeling there. I don't know the book. I don't remember, but I'm pretty sure the book doesn't actually take place during the. Well, it doesn't take place during like December. It might take place at some time during the winter, but I don't think so. But I just love it. It has this very warm feeling about it, and there's some really beautiful and profound statements that are made in the book about life and about human connection and things like that, and it's just really cool, and it really gets me in the spirit of like the winter and the holidays, even though it's not necessarily like a holiday book. So I definitely recommend check that book out. It's amazing. It's beautiful. It's hilarious. You'll crack up, and then watch the movie if you want to, because it's also really funny. The next book that I want to talk about is kind of similar to like when I was talking about The Catcher in the Rye. Has nothing to do with winter. Well, it kind of has something to do with winter a little bit and the holidays, but not really. It's a book called Dress Your Family in Corduroy and Denim. It's by David Sedaris, and it's a really funny book. Kind of like Nick and Nora. It's hilarious. You'll probably read it and like laugh out loud. It's really funny. David Sedaris is just a really great writer, and he's really, really funny in my mind. He's a humorist, which to me I'm like, okay, what the heck is a humorist compared to like a comedian? But I digress. But it's really funny. It's another book that gets me in the kind of holiday spirit because it's a collection of short stories. And even though, yeah, some of the short stories do take place during the holidays and around like Thanksgiving time and in December and New Year's and all kinds of stuff like that, the whole book isn't like that. But, the whole book puts me in a state of mind of like just really enjoying myself. Which is what, to me, like, the holidays are all about, being with people you love, the people that you love and kind of hate sometimes, or can't stand to be around, which the book talks about a lot, and it's really warm and really jovial, and it's really, really funny. So that's another book that I think is really easy for me to, curl up with and read and drink some hot chocolate and laugh and have a good time. So that's a book that I always like to think of when I think of, like, the winter and the holiday season. The next book that I have is a book by Jack Kerouac. It's called The Dharma Bums. Disclaimer, I love Jack Kerouac, and The Dharma Bums is maybe my favorite book of his. I just really like it. Why does it get me in the winter spirit when it's not like explicitly about the holidays or anything? Similarly, for everything, to me, it's a very warm piece to read. It really just brings my heart a lot of joy. As messed up as the book can be at times, I think the overall message of it is one that's kind of positive, and I don't know, I just really like it. I like to, once again, curl up with it and drink my hot chocolate, whatever, and read it. It's a really nice book, and it also is one of those books that kind of makes me think about my life, and something like Nora makes me think about human connection. It makes me think about things like that, and those are the things that, to me, make the holidays really important and really meaningful, and that's why I really like this book. I'm just really into it. It's also the book that really kind of made me want to learn more about Buddhism, which was cool to me because I think Buddhist ideals like introduced a lot of new thought of things that I had never thought of, and kind of made me question my own personal value system in a good way. So I think it was really cool. So I'm just like a really big fan of it. So definitely check out Dharma Bums. And the last book that I have on my list of books that I like to think of or that kind of get me in like a wintry spirit. This book actually doesn't really get me in a wintry kind of spirit. I just think that the winter is a good time to read it. Unlike the rest of the books, which all are not too heavy, except, I mean, the Dharma Bums, I guess, can get heavy, and like Catcher in the Rye can be kind of heavy at times. This book is incredibly heavy. It's called The Burn Journals. It's by Brent Runyon. Yeah, it's nonfiction. It's the true story of the author Brent Runyon, who he tried to commit suicide by fire when he was a teenager, and that's really heavy. But it's a book that when I read, it was really a gripping book, and it was very hard for me to stop reading it. But also because it's so heavy, it necessarily isn't a good book to read all in one sitting. So that's why I like to think of it as a really good book to read in the winter. Because when I think of the winter, I mean, for me as a college student, I know I have a few weeks for a break. So I have some time to kind of read it and then set it down and think about it and come back and read it later. So that's why it's a book that doesn't really get me in the winter spirit. I just think it's a good book to read during the winter. Because I think that for whatever reason, reading really heavy books in the winter the winter's a better time, for me personally, is to read really intense books like that. Because I have more time, and I don't know, it makes more sense to me. So for that reason, The Burn Journals is a book that I think everyone who can read it should read it. And you can interpret can read it however you want. You know, I understand if it's too heavy a book for you to read or it's too close to home, probably not a book that you would want to read. But it's really, really a powerful book. It really moved me, really made me think about my life. And yeah, so it's a book that I like to read in the winter. So hopefully some of you will be able to check out some of these books. They're definitely really great, the majority of them, except the last one. Definitely get me in the winter spirit. Last one, like I said, it's a good book to read in the winter. But the majority of them are like really upbeat, really funny, and really always get me going for the holiday season and for winter, and get me kind of looking the right way, you know, moving forward. So definitely check it out. Check some of these books out. They're amazing. Go to a local library near you or your local bookstore. Pick the books up and check them out. Maybe give them as a gift. You know. Also, alternatively, buy them, read them, then give them as a gift. I mean, live your life. If you gotta do that, you gotta do it. But yeah, definitely check them out. Get yourself in the winter spirit and think about giving the gift of reading to someone this holiday season. So thanks so much for watching my little video. I really appreciate it, and I wish you all a very wonderful December, and I hope you all have a very happy and healthy holiday season. Wear your ugly Christmas sweater like I am, or ugly non-denominational holiday sweater, you know, live your life, and just have a great time, alright? Thanks so much for watching, and have a good one. Bye!